What I believe is that good things come to those who work their asses off. And that good people who reach the top of the mountain didn't just fall there.
Hey everyone, Daniel and Chris here from IGN. Now we haven't got a full video review for Nightcrawler on site, but I'm going to chat about it.
Yeah, we're going early with this one because we're posting this in line with the Toronto premiere, so there's just one trailer out, so we can't do our usual vid. So we're going to talk about it because I've seen it.
Okay, so first off, premise, what the hell is the film about?
It's a weird film. It's Jake Gyllenhaal, who's behind us, plays a guy called Leo Bloom, who's a bit strange. He's a bit odd. His social interactions with other people
It looks a bit odd in that
aren't
picture.
quite right. He lacks empathy, and there's a coldness and strangeness to him. And so he's unemployed and struggling for work, and right from the outset you realise he's a bit dodge. He's a bit of a criminal, he does a couple of bad things right at the beginning. So he's not to be trusted. And one day he stumbles across someone who makes their living as a cameraman, rushing to the scenes where crimes have happened or accidents have happened and filming it, sending that footage to the local news broadcasters and making money that way. So it's kind of like ambulance chasing paparazzi, basically. And Leo lacks scruples, lacks any kind of moral compass, so it's almost the perfect job for him. He's got no conscience, feels no guilt about, you know, getting to the scene before the police do, maybe even taking photos when he could be helping the people.
So he's going around at night, lurking, trying to find crime scenes, and
buys himself a camera, buys himself a police scanner, and it's just like a race against these other people who do the same job.
And that's the plot, or is there something else? Is there a through line?
That's pretty much it. It's a character study rather than a film that's sort of really based around the plot.
You said he does a few dodgy things. Does he ever set up some of these crime scenes?
Well, that's kind of, as it goes on, it's kind of the question is how far is he willing to go. Each time he seems to go a little bit further, where you think, oh, that at the beginning he's just taking video, but each time he seems to push it a little bit further because he wants to be the best. And as I say, he doesn't really have a conscience, so it's kind of like, how far is this guy willing to go? And then it's also a film about who is the bad guy, because he's only doing this because the media want this footage to show on telly, and they're only showing it because we, the general public, society, want to see this stuff. We want to see graphic imagery in the news, and so it's kind of a comment about what's really happening in the world today in terms of what we want to watch in our news broadcast.
Is the film in itself graphic, and is it making that point by inviting you, the viewer of this film, to kind of enjoy that, or does it obscure the violence?
Not particularly. Yeah, you're not seeing horrible stuff. I mean, it's horrific, the place he's going, but it's not showing it in graphic detail. But because you're with him, you kind of become part of it, and even though he's a pretty unpleasant character, there's bits of him that you like. Like, there's something quite likeable, and it helps that it's Jake Gyllenhaal. He's quite an engaging person, with big actor with big brown eyes, and kind of you almost want to sympathise, but then he'll keep doing things where make you kind of question that. In that respect, there's similarities between this film and Taxi Driver. I think there's something of the Travis Bickle to this guy. I wouldn't say it's in that league, but that's certainly the first thing that springs to mind, I think, when you're watching it. And it's also a very kind of LA noir kind of movie. Most of it's set at night. It's neon lit.
City,
so I was name checking in my reviews stuff like To Live and Die in LA and Drive and Mulholland Drive. Just these films about the dark underbelly
the night
of
stories
Los Angeles.
Of the city. So you mentioned Taxi Driver there, obviously an incredibly stylish film. Martin Scorsese directed it. Who directed this, and what can you say about its direction?
Yeah, well, it's a guy called Dan Gilroy, and actually it's his debut, which is incredible. I mean, he's been around a while.
He's a screenwriter, isn't he?
He's a screenwriter. He's Tony Gilroy's brother. Tony Gilroy wrote the Bourne movies and directed the Bourne Legacy. Dan co-wrote the Bourne Legacy with him. He also wrote Real Steel. He wrote the I think it's The Fall, thriller from about 15 years ago with Vince Vaughn and Jennifer Lopez.
Yeah.
He wrote that one, and this is his first movie, and it's incredibly well directed. The cinematography, his visuals, it's a really engaging film to watch. It's beautiful, kind of dark, slightly nightmarish quality, which kind of goes hand in hand with the material.
So who else is in it apart from Jake Gyllenhaal?
So you got Jake Gyllenhaal. Bill Paxton pops up as an Always paparazzi. He's kind of almost the comic relief because the two of them go to war with each other. Rene Russo's in it, who plays a TV producer that who kind of goes into a deal with the devil when she starts paying him for these videos. And Riz Ahmed, who's a young British actor plays a guy who becomes his assistant. And it's a film about unemployment in America, I think, as well, because he's desperate for a job. Riz Ahmed's character only goes to work with him because he's unemployed and desperate for a job. He doesn't want to be working with this guy. And Rene Russo only starts paying him and doing deals with him because she's going to lose her job if she doesn't keep producing ratings. So it's quite
the length you'll go to make money,
and
keep yourself employed, or create a job for yourself.
Yeah, so it's an interesting film. It's a thought-provoking movie about what's going on in America and I guess in the UK as well at large.
So in conclusion,
I really liked it.
You would recommend it?
I'd really like it. And what I haven't said is actually, this all sounds really grim. It's really funny.
Oh,
it's very funny. Okay. It's the blackest comedy. But the person I was sitting next to in the screen I was in at the end kind of turned to me and said, "Was that funny?" Because we were laughing, but you weren't sure if you should be laughing. Okay. But the stuff he says and some of the stuff he does is funny. I was expecting it
to be more like a kind of suspense thriller.
No, it's a very. I think it's a very black comedy. I might be wrong, and maybe I shouldn't have been laughing, but yeah, I really enjoyed it, and I'm giving it an 8.5 out of 10.
Great, so definitely check that out.
Yeah, check it out. It's coming out. It's coming out throughout October and November worldwide. But interestingly, it comes out in the UK and the US on Halloween. October 31st, and I think it'd be quite a good Halloween watch.
An alternate take, so great. So for more on Nightcrawler, the other Nightcrawler, and Diggs Nightcrawler, stay right here on IGN.